I want to start by saying that minorities and all employees and essential workers need some of that same support in the workforce, just like we're seeing with police matters. I am far from the brightest dude in the world, and I will always admit that. I had done over 10,000 stops the day that this situation happened to me. My truck was parked and seemed fine, no alarms. It was sitting there for over 2 minutes. When I turned around, it had started to roll into someone's yard over their mailbox. This particular day was a Saturday. It was the largest, newest route I had ever had. And I am completely exhausted and hurting everywhere by 8:30 at night. I had been out there since 9 that morning. But I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. I'm always moving fast. That's the job. It turned out something had gone wrong with the gear shift, but you would think an alarm would let me know that before I get out of the truck. And the e-brake was engaged, but it was loose, and I had never heard of such a thing. But apparently you're supposed to tighten it whenever you use it. So for all these thousands of stops, I could have just rolled myself over at any point in time because nobody cared to let me know this. So I had to be psychologically tormented, reliving watching this truck roll out of my control, imagining the worst if it had happened. Someone was in that yard, someone had just got home, someone is checking their mail, and I didn't have enough time to warn them. So many awful scenarios could have played out, and I still wake up with a pit in my stomach from the situation and from, of course, losing my job. The whole time working at UPS was incredibly difficult. I pushed through some of the hardest days in my life to get this opportunity. And I go to Atlanta for the undergrad driver's school, but we don't actually even get trained while we're out doing deliveries with other drivers. We're sitting in a classroom, we're staying in a nice hotel, eating nice meals, but we're not out there sweating and working all day to understand what's expected of us when we return to our hubs, so that we have chances to mess up and get cursed out and understand the flow, the workflow that we're supposed to have and start mastering. There were no observations back at the hub, at least not for me. I was never corrected. They were never observing me closely to see what I was doing wrong and to correct me. And if they don't want to do it, I could be paired with a trainer driver for a few weeks. And that's at least what they should do. But UPS is interested in a larger revolving door of employees. They're trying to get away from long-term union employees. This is why they have taken away the CDL requirement. They want more revolving door employees to come in there for a few months to a few years, because that's less pensions they have to pay. It's less older seniority employees that get grievance privileges. It's way cheaper for them to approach this the way they have started to approach this now. Never before have you been able to work at UPS for under a year and start driving a truck. And in a lot of ways, it should not be allowed. This is a skill set, driving a commercial vehicle. You need to learn that skill set just like you have to learn any other skill set to make a good salary. Nobody gets to be a doctor after a week of training. No one's a pilot after a week of training. Nobody's anything worth being after a week of training, and not even training on the job that you're doing. So I imagine they probably lobby in the higher ups between UPS, the Department of Labor, and the Department of Transportation have probably colluded to ease requirements and restrictions to allow for bigger profits at the expense of employee safety and public safety. Side note, 14 hours of in and out of that truck delivering packages to every door, up every flight of stairs, to every apartment, across every huge driveway is much harder than 14 hours sitting in a freight truck on the interstate. And if something had happened to me or someone else this day, they would have been sued for millions. So I feel like I'm entitled to a settlement of some kind while I'm alive. This would have ruined my whole life if someone was hurt or killed. And just firing me as an essential worker and as a minority is cowardly. They are a $100 billion company. I am just one dude. So no, I'm not going to walk away with my tail tucked. This is greed and it's so unnecessary. They should require a CDL or at the very least paired new drivers with a trainer driver for 2 weeks. And this is not much to ask. Thank you so much for watching. I really need the support to get a satisfactory outcome out of this and to force changes for everyone's good at UPS. Thank you.